Right, so, dubstep. Dubstep started as a subgenre of UK grime which featured slow tempo and heavily reverberant drums, wobbling bass lines, and the occasional vocal sample. Currently, we're looking at a conflict between UK dubstep purists and the Americanized brostep subgenre, the kind of conflict only music fans, sports fans, and gamers seem capable of, where either side is deeply and crazily passionate, but no one else cares. So, where did dubstep originate? 1998, the style that would become dubstep begins to take form in South London, UK. Producers began merging ambient sounds with garage, grime, jungle, and dub reggae. Think of early dubstep as a kind of mixing pot for garage producers to throw things at other things and see what blends. Early artists include LB, Oris J, and Zed Bias, who you're listening to now. Critical to the genre's development was Dedicated Nightclub Forward, I don't know how you're supposed to say that, which allowed artists to premiere their new material. Ammunition Promotions, the blokes behind Forward, also created the label Temper, who in 2000 released Horsepower Productions' When You Hold Me, Let's Dance. The first public coining of the term dubstep was in 2002, when Horsepower appeared on the cover of XLR8R. Before then, it came under the umbrella term of grime, or just that thing we're trying out. Things start to sound more recognisably dubstep in 2003 with Scream and Benga's release of The Judgment on Big Apple Records. This is the earliest and most obvious example of a wobbling bass line. Digital Mystics and Loafer's 2004 dub session combines the wobble bass with a half-time beat, creating that winning stylistic combo. In 2005, Scream released Midnight Request Line, which received widespread praise largely due to the melodic nature of the music. This was one of the first times we heard dubstep taken away from that dark, grimy ambience we knew before. At this point, the genre began to grow with the emergence of various dedicated magazines, websites, and online forums. Now, the earliest mainstream supporter of the genre was reluctant cult hero BBC DJ John Peel, but things really take off in 2006 when Radio 1 DJ Mary Ann Hobbs features Loafer's Dubstep Wars. Another example of dubstep success in this year is Burial's self-titled debut album, which won The Wire's Album of the Year. Burial is a great example of the UK's darker, trippier style of dubstep. That same year, LA producer Flying Lotus, nephew of Alice and John Coltrane no less, brings UK grime dubstep to the USA and fuses it with his own style of glitch hip-hop. In 2007, dubstep achieves its first daytime commercial radio play, Benga and Koki's Night. And now we get to Rusko. Poor old Rusko. Leeds producer Rusko takes the heat from most of the dubstep haters, purists and hipsters for turning the genre into that thing most people think of when you say dubstep, i.e. silly noises and overcompression. Now don't get me wrong, I love silly noises and overcompression, and genres evolve, right? That's not necessarily a bad thing. In 2008, Rusko released Cockney Thug, which brought dubstep many more follows but pretty much severed his ties with the original movement. Similar acts begin to emerge in this year, including Flux Pavilion in the UK and 12th Planet in America. 2009 is the year in which pop music and commercial styles really took note of what was happening and jumped on the proverbial bandwagon. Examples would be LaRue and Scream combining to reach number 2 in the charts and stay there for several weeks. Commercial drum and bass producers Chase and Status team up with Plan B to release single End Credits, and Daddy Banker funded teeny synth boppers Enter Shikari, try saying that drunk, started incorporating aspects of the style into their own music. Shortly after, even rock music started borrowing ideas. In 2011, Finnish glam rockers Reckless Love released single Hot, which featured some obvious hat dips towards brostep. Brostep. We'll get to that bit in a minute. Other attempts at being contemporary and relevant would include the band's logo. I mean, replace that text with the words 4-hour dubstep mix and it totally works. Now, to many, when you say dubstep, they think you mean Skrillex. And should you search the term on YouTube, you will pretty much only find Skrillex knockoffs and audible masturbatory aids, so I guess you can't really be mad when the general populace starts thinking one thing means another thing. That's kind of how definitions change. And that keeps the dictionary business going, so it can't be a bad thing. Now, while it's true that Skrillex has done a lot to make dubstep relevant and zeitgeisty, particularly in the US, you could argue that he's only made people more aware of the really annoying and truly loathsome aspects of the genre. His Americanized form of dubstep has come to be known as brostep, a term which really says it all. Skrillex gave up a career in screaming his problems down a microphone as frontman of From First to Last to pursue a solo career which took off in 2012. Following in his wake are hordes of imitators, and it's about here that I really need to stop talking about Skrillex. So yeah, I guess we'll leave it here, as we're now wandering into the realms of music present rather than music history. So what's next for dubstep? I guess we'll see. Maybe we'll even be back in a few years with another look at the genre. Maybe it'll get even sillier. I do hope so. Goodbye.